Ooh, this might be a good one. Loving our enemies. Matthew 5. But I tell you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. With the American Civil War spawning many bitter feelings, Abraham Lincoln saw fit to speak a kind word about the South. A shocked bystander asked how he could do so. He replied, "Madam, do I not destroy my enemies when I make them my friends?" This question. Reflecting on those words a century later, Martin Luther King commented, "This is the power of redemptive love." In calling disciples of Christ to love their enemies, King looked to the teachings of Jesus. He noted that although believers might struggle to love those who persecute them, this love grows out of a consistent and total surrender to God. When we love in this way, King continued, we'll know God and experience the beauty of His holiness. I do not disagree with that. King referenced Jesus' Sermon on the Mount, Matthew 5, 6, and 7, in which he said, "Love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, that you may be children of your Father in heaven." Jesus counseled against the conventional wisdom of the day of loving only one's neighbors and hating one's enemies. Instead, God the Father gives His children the strength to love those who oppose them. It may feel impossible to love our enemies, but as we look to God for help, He'll answer our prayers. He gives the courage to embrace this radical practice, for as Jesus said, with God all things are possible. Who is your enemy? If you feel conflicted about loving those who oppose you, how could you submit those feelings to God? Loving God, you've made me as well as those who hurt me in your image. Help me to see them as you do. Not bad, but there's a whole lot more they could do there. Why? Why should you love your enemies? Why should you love those who persecute you? One, it changes you, even if it's just in that moment, because you have to humble yourself to do so. You're thinking of someone else. It's a selfless act. But it also puts you're activating your faith. You're exercising your faith. John 14:15. You're activating that in a sense. And now, in a way, I think you're also gaining some sort of protection, because now you're doing your part, and now it's up to God, Jesus, the Holy Spirit to do theirs with your enemy, which would be either work out His salvation or protect. If to me it would be like at that point in time you're one of His. You're doing His will. Okay, maybe the other person is or isn't. Okay, we're holding out with patience for the other person. But in the meantime, if you're one of His in this situation, I think you'd just be there would be some some security in that. Anyhow, love you. God bless.